Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And I am so excited to share with you today these 3 fun cards made with the Nothing's Better Than bundle by Stampin' Up! Now, this bundle was designed by my friend Connie Stewart. Now, Connie recently hit her $1 million in career sales. And one of the perks for demonstrators that reach that milestone is to design a stamp set for release in an upcoming catalog. So this is Connie's, and this totally suits Connie's style. I love this set, and the coordinating dies are just so much fun. So you can find this in our annual catalog on page 91. In Canada here, the bundle sells for $63.75. Now that's an important amount, because it qualifies you right now during the month of July for a bonus days coupon. So when you purchase this bundle, you're going to earn a $6 coupon that you can spend in August when the new holiday catalog comes out. So let me show you the bundle up close and personal. So we have stamps and dies. So the stamp set has these tons of fun sentiments. You can make all kinds of awesome combinations. And I love the retro font and the retro artwork. It is just so much fun. And then, of course, we have coordinating dies. So the dies, we have dies that cut out stamped images, but then we also have dies that cut words. So we're going to use both today. But this is just an awesome bundle that I am having so much fun playing with. Now let me just pull up my video here before we get into our stamping so I can see who's joining me here. Let's see who's here. Oh, Louise is here and Lee is here. Hi you guys, I hope you're having a good week. I hope you're staying cool in this heat. It is crazy hot out there. All right, so we're going to start with this one. So I'm going to set these 2 aside for now. And we're going to make this card. Now, somebody commented earlier today when I posted this that this reminds them of the Jetsons, and it totally does me too. It's the style, this sort of retro 60s style that I love in this stamp set, and this coffee cup totally reminds me of the Jetsons. So if you remember the Jetsons, you're dating yourself just like me, but that's okay. All right, so let's get to it. I'm going to pull out a piece of white cardstock. I'm going to set this aside for a minute. So this is Whisper White cardstock. It is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And our color scheme for this card is this. So we have Pool Party. You probably can't see that. That says Soft Seafoam, Petal Pink, and Early Espresso. So I'm going to start with Early Espresso, and I'm going to stamp my coffee cup several times down the left side of my Whisper White panel. Hi Wendy, how are you? Hi Bonnie. Hope you guys are doing well and keeping cool. So we're going to stamp our coffee cup a few times in Early Espresso ink. And we kind of want it to look like they're sort of falling from the sky. It's raining coffee, which is a good thing. Trust me. Okay, so I'm actually going to set this one aside for a minute. We're going to need that back in a second. But next, we are going to stamp our, sort of fill in the coffee cup. So this stamp set, let me pull in the case. So we have the outline stamp, and then we have one that fills it in. So you don't have to color on this one. And because they're photopolymer, they're pretty easy to line up. Now that I said that, I have to try and line this up on live camera while not actually looking directly over the image. So we're going to see what happens. This might be, oh, that's not too bad. I always kind of hold my breath and cross my toes and hope that I get a decent result when I do this. Okay, so while I have the Petal Pink ink out, I'm going to just add a few of these little, double stamp. Do you guys ever do that? Where you accidentally touch once too soon? That's it there. That's okay, we'll hide it with the gem. That's what embellishments are for, right? All right, so I'm gonna stamp off my coffee mug image, and I'm going to grab my Pool Party ink, and we're going to add a few Pool Party coffee cups. I'm actually gonna do one down here because, come on, there we go. We'll add that one, and we're gonna do this guy up here too. Okay, and then I'm also going to add a few little asterisks or stars or whatever you want to call them in the pool party. I think this is my favorite stamp in the entire set. This little asterisk stamp. It's so fun. It just adds such a fun little hint of retro texture. All right, sunny and cool in Calgary, is it, Deb? It is hot, 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 hot here. It is crazy hot. We're like 40 degrees with the humidity. It is not fit for man nor beast out there. I feel very sorry for anyone who does not have central AC right now because it is not nice. All I can say is I'm very thankful that I am not at work because my school does not have central air. So this is yet another reason why I'm thankful we don't have year-round schooling, because I would be dying. All right, so there are, oh, I need to add a couple brown ones. Let's go back to the early espresso. We're gonna add a couple early espresso asterisks just to coordinate with the ones on the cups. The thing with these little bitty tiny stamps, you want to use a really light touch, both when you're inking. So just like kiss the ink pad, and then when you're stamping as well. Okay, there's not a whole lot to them, and if you press too hard, you kind of get a gloopy mess. All right, so there is our background. Isn't that fun? Next, we are going to stamp on our sentiment panel. So here I have a piece of Crumb Cake cardstock. It is, I don't even remember, I have to measure. This is why I keep my ruler handy. It is 4 5/8 by 1 1/2. Okay, I don't know why 4 5/8. This must have been a strip that was left over from something else. Sometimes I kind of go, okay, those are really weird measurements, but whatever. You could probably get away with 4 1/2 and it would be just fine. All right, so we are going to stamp today's plan, consume, in the top left corner of this little crumb cake strip. I'm stamping in early espresso. And again, I'm going to hope and pray that this is somewhat straight. And then we are going to stamp and be awesome in the lower right corner. A little crooked, but that's all right. I can live with that. Okay. All right. Next, we have a die cut. So this is cut with the dies. It says coffee. Now I've got some of the adhesive sheets on the back, but we're not going to do anything with it just yet. I'm going to show you a little trick for how to get this shadow effect behind your die cut. So I'm going to grab the die, first of all, the coffee die. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this just on a scrap of pool party cardstock, and I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to trace the outside of my die with my pencil. Going all the way around, just tracing the die. Okay. And then I'm going to take my snips and I'm going to fussy cut. Hey, Kathy Angus, how are you? Hope you're keeping cool. I do not envy you. I'm sure it is warm in your house. I bet you're in your little pool. I hope you are, with your book and your frosty cocktail. So all I'm doing now is I'm cutting around that pencil line that I just traced around my die. And you're going to see when I turn it over, as soon as I get this cut out, I'm going to have a perfect little shadow to go behind my die cut word. So we're just going to cut this whole thing out. And my fingers are not working very well today. I don't know. They've been really crampy and sore. It could be because of all the painting that I did over the weekend. We painted our fireplace and that was a job and a half. But I'm just feeling like my hands are not functioning the way they normally do. It's old age. Turned 49 a couple weeks ago, so I am counting down the days to 50. Yeah. I remember when my mom turned 50. It seemed so old. And now here I am staring it down. All right, so this is, again, just the outline of the die, okay, that I've cut. So then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to go ahead and glue the word coffee on there. And look at that. I have a perfect shadow to go behind my die cut. So this is just a fun little tip. Whenever you have die cut words, use your die to create a shadow effect behind it. Just a fun little way to add some interest behind your die cuts. We're just going to stick this down fairly centered. And there we go. Isn't that fun? All right, so we're going to pop this up. So I'm going to grab a couple of dimensionals and pop this guy. I broke my thumbnail this weekend, so my best crafting tool, my thumbnail for peeling off dimensional backings, is a little bit hampered and handicapped this week. All right, so then I have a die cut circle. So this is cut using my very favorite Tasteful Labels dies. It's die cut from Soft Sea Foam. It's just a cute little starburst. I'm not sure how well that shows up, but it's really sweet. And I am going to, I've already stamped and die cut my coffee cup here. So I'm going to add a dimensional to the back of this one. And just pop that in the center of my circle. And then that is going to get glued onto my sentiment panel with just a little bit of Tombow. So we'll just grab that, add a little hint of glue, and pop that on there like that. Okay. All right. Now, before we do anything with this, we need to add our braided linen trim. So this is some of the 3/16 braided linen trim from the annual catalog. I love the texture of it. And I love the width of it. It's just a really subtle way to add just a little bit of texture if my glue dots decide to stick today. I mentioned that it's really hot outside, which means our air conditioner is working overtime, and it means that our basement, where my studio is like a meat locker. It is so cold down here. I have to keep going outside for a few minutes to warm up every half hour or so because I'm just a popsicle. All right, so now I have a piece of early espresso cardstock. It is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And we're going to go ahead and layer our background panel on that early espresso cardstock. I'm going to grab just a little bit of seal. Now, how are you guys finding the seal? How many of you have tried seal? I know there have been very mixed reviews. I know some people are really not enjoying it at all, but I gotta say, I am loving it. So if you are someone who is struggling with seal, I would really encourage you to keep persevering, because honestly, once you get the hang of it, it is thebomb.com, that adhesive. Okay, so our sentiment panel is now going to go on. So we're going to add some dimensionals again. So I'm going to put some large ones across the top and some small ones across the bottom. And that is simply so that my braided linen trim can kind of run in that sort of space between. And oh my goodness, my thumbnail. Of all the nails for me to break, it had to be my right thumb. It is my dimensional backing peeling thumb. Not a good scene. All right, so we're gonna pop this guy right on here, and I'm gonna just really make sure that I get that trim, the braided linen trim, in between my dimensionals. That's just gonna help this lie nice and flat. Okay, and then we have a Crumb Cake card base. So this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we're going to fold that in half along our score line and crisp it up with our bone folder. And then we'll add a little bit more adhesive. And we'll pop this right onto our card base, just like that. Okay, and then the last touch is just to add our little bow. So we're going to add a glue dot to the knot and pop that on there. Oh, I lied. I said the last touch. It's not the last touch. The last touch is going to be to add a little bit of bling. Now, these are the Elegant Faceted Gems. These are actually from the Peony Garden Suite. They're beautiful faceted gems, but I really like them for lots of other things. They are not just for the Peony Suite. They actually come in Petal Pink. So I thought, well, Petal Pink is one of our colors on this card, so let's add a little bit of bling, because honestly, everybody needs a little bling. And we are going to, I'm going to cover up that little oopsie there. Oh, there we go. all gone. And we'll put one more. I'm going to put one right. No, I'm going to put it over here. There we go. There is our finished card. Isn't that cute? So fun. And then on the inside of my sample, I just added a Whisper White panel and stamped another coffee cup. And I know lots of people that I could send this one to. Lots and lots. Lots of coffee lovers in my life, me included. All right, let's get rid of all of this. And we're going to move on to number 2. I need to save my early espresso. That can go away. We need the coffee cup. Do I need the coffee cup? No, I don't need the coffee cup anymore. We'll get rid of that. Okay, moving on. We are going to make this one next. Now, I don't know about you, but on hot days like this, frosty cocktails come to mind. I kind of wish, well, actually, let me just tell you my tale of woe. Tomorrow is when my husband and I were supposed to be leaving for Maui. So I should be sitting on a beach sipping one of these tomorrow. However, COVID-19 had other plans, so I have to settle for paper cocktails instead. So we are going to make this cute, 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 fun, fun, fun Hawaii dreaming card. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is show you both how I stamped my little cocktail glass here and how I got this ombre look on my die cut. Okay, so I'm going to start by stamping my cocktail glass in the Memento Black. Hi Jen, hi Ann, hi Gail. Hope you guys are doing okay. So we're going to stamp our cocktail glass down here. I'll close that up again. And then in the stamp set, there is, let me bring this set so you can see it, this fun image that fills in the cocktail glass. It's even got the ice cubes, which I love. So to do this, we're going to do a little bit of ombre stamping. You've seen me do this before. And the colors that I used, this color combination reminds me of like a Bellini. It's like my favorite. I'm using Mango Melody and Magenta Madness. Okay, so I'm going to ink up the stamp with the mango first. And then I'm going to pull in my magenta and add just a little bit with my dauber to the bottom. And you can see, do you see that? It looks so fun. I'm going to stamp this and hopefully get it somewhat centered. Not bad, not exactly, but not bad. And then there are also stamps, again, I'm going to pull in the stamp set that fill in the umbrella. This little guy fills in the umbrella and this little guy fills in our line. So we're going to stamp our umbrella in the magenta. And again, I'm hoping that this is somewhat lined up. Not too bad. And my lime, where did I put my Granny Apple Green? There it is. I'm going to put this away before I have a disaster. Let's grab the Granny Apple. Hi, Ann. How are you? I'm going to ink that up with the Granny Apple. And again, I'm just going to stamp right over top of my lime. Isn't that just a yummy looking cocktail? Love it. And then there is a die that die cuts it. Now I have already die cut one ahead of time just to save time, but I am going to show you how to create this cocktails and do the die cutting. So we are going to start with the magenta. Where did I put it? So I should mention on the back of this little scrap of Whisper White, I've already put some of the adhesive sheets. Okay, so I'm going to grab my mango and I'm just going to sponge across this sheet here, this little scrap with the mango. Okay, and the more ink you put on, the more vibrant your die cut is going to look. And then I'm going to pull in some magenta. And I'm going to fill in with the magenta, and I want to make sure that I overlap here, right? I want to overlap the mango, and that's going to give me that fun orange shade in the transition. Oh, so fun. Love it. Okay, so then it's just a matter of die cutting, and you can place your die wherever you like so that you get the amount of color that you want. Now I'm going to make some room here because I'm going to bring in my big boy here. And we're going to die cut. Now, I don't know if you've heard the news, but our new die cutting machine is going to be available for ordering starting September 1st. So excited. So I actually broke out the last of my cutting plates because I figure I may as well use them up because I'm going to be able to get a whole new machine very soon. All right, so I'm going to take my cocktails die And I've got my magnetic platform in here just for ease of use. And I'm going to lay my cocktails die on. And I want to kind of look through it to see, I want to make sure I get some of that mango and then some of the magenta as well. I'm going to move it right about there. I'm going to add my nice shining pristine new cutting plate on top. And we'll roll her through. And get this out of the way. This thing's so cumbersome. I can't wait for the new machine. It's so compact, folds up, gets out of the way. You're gonna see me using it a lot more in my videos rather than hauling around the big boy. All right, so when I take off my die, I have this fun die cut sentiment. Isn't that awesome? All right, so let's do some stamping. So we have some place to put our awesome die cut sentiment. So here I have a Whisper White circle. It's die cut using the largest die from the circles in the stitched shapes dies. And I'm going to stamp today is a, and then kind of day. So I'm going to stamp today is a at the top. Again, I'm going to use my black. And the nice thing about circles is the first one you don't have to worry about getting straight. Now this one I do need to worry about getting it straight. So we're going to try and hope that it's straight. Not bad, not bad. And then we can add our die cut. Okay, so the cool thing, now I could take the time to poke all of these little bits out, but the cool thing that I have found when I'm using the adhesive sheets is when I pull off the backing, all those little bits come away with it, which is great. So no pokey pokey. All right, so we're going to add our cocktails right in the middle of our circle. It's a little droopy. Let's move our S up a little bit. Come here. There we go. Get a little bit straighter. And then the eye is still in my die. I left it there purposely so I wouldn't lose it. So I'm just going to poke that out. Where'd you go? And I'm going to peel it off the backing paper with my pokey tool. This is where your take your pick is invaluable when you're dealing with these little bitty pieces. Okay. All right. So now we are going to add some sparkle to our cocktails. So I'm going to take my Wink of Stella and just trace over the die cut word because, you know, cocktails are sparkly, especially fruity frosty ones on a day like today. It would be more sparkly if I were sipping them on a beach in Maui, but that'll happen next May, hopefully. It has been rescheduled for May. All right, so there we go. There is our sentiment. And then we're going to add some little asterisks. So I'm going to just clean this off for a sec because I did have early espresso on there and we don't want that in our Granny Apple Green ink pad. I'm going to get rid of the dye so I don't lose it. And hey Huda, hi Sandy, how are you? Okay, so we're going to add just a couple of these little fellas on here because they're fun. There we go. Couple little sparkles. And then this is going to get layered on a silver foil scallop circle. Okay, so this is the largest scallop circle from the layering circle dies. Okay, and I'm going to just add a little bit of seal. Sandy, are you missing being on our way to Maui as much as I am? It has been a rather depressing kind of week. I'm glad the weather here has been nice and hot. At least, you know, we're not having to deal with rain, but still, sure would be nice to be on a beach somewhere. Okay, so we are going to add, oh, I shouldn't have stamped my little asterisk there. I'll have to stamp another one because we're going to cover it up with our cocktail here. So we're going to add a glue dot to the, it's so cold in my craft room that my glue dots don't want to stick. That's how hard our air conditioner is working. Okay, let's pop this on here, just like that. I'm going to stamp one more little asterisk because I covered it up. We'll do one up here. There we go. And then that is going to get glued onto our background. Now we have to create our background. So I'm going to set this aside. And here I have a piece of Granny Apple Green cardstock. It is 4 by 5 1/4 inches, and I've embossed it using the subtle embossing folder. Okay, I haven't used that one in a little while. It used to be my go-to, and it's been usurped by the Tasteful Textile. Okay, so here I have a 1 by 6 inch strip of Mango Melody DSP. This is from the Color Family DSP 6 by 6 packs. And I'm going to add just a little bit of adhesive to the back of that. And I'm going to adhere it on a diagonal onto my Granny Apple Green panel. Okay, so I'm kind of lining up, let me move this up, this bottom corner and this top corner with the edge of the cardstock. Okay, that's kind of so I can get the angle correct. Then I have 2 3/4 inch strips. It's the same pattern of DSP, but this is Magenta Madness. And I'm actually going to use the opposite side because I can, and it just adds a little variety. You could certainly do the polka dots if you wanted to. But I like having a little bit of variety and texture. And we're going to do the same thing on this one. A little bit of glue. And we'll add this guy up here. So I'm butting these right up against each other. They're not overlapping. They're just hugging each other. They're not observing social distancing. But that's okay. Okay, so then we're going to flip this over. And we're just going to trim these off. Now, I could totally use my mini trimmer, but it is way on the other side of the room. So we're just going to use our paper snips. So this is easy to do. You just flip your cardstock over and use the edge of your cardstock as a guide to trim off your paper. So you don't have to eyeball it. You don't need to be super good at cutting straight. Just use the edge of your cardstock as a bit of a jig. And it will work every time. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Now this background can be used for anything. I think this would be really fun with unicorns and hippos. That bundle is coming in a couple of weeks, so just stay tuned for that one. So then we're going to layer this on a piece of Mango Melody cardstock. It is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inches, so 1/8 of an inch larger, just like the Espresso was on the last card. This is going to give us a narrow little border all the way around. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Tombow. And again, you can use whatever adhesive. I tend to use whatever is close at hand. Sometimes I'll use my seal, sometimes I'll use my Tombow. Tombow is nice when you are doing these narrow borders because you can wiggle it and get it exactly centered. But yeah, there's not really any rhyme or reason to my adhesive choices. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is a card base from Granny Apple Green cardstock. So it's a half sheet. It's 4 1/4 by 11, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we'll fold that in half along our score line. And this time I'm going to use a bit of seal, again, because it's right there. And we're going to pop this on to our card, just like that. And then we are going to add our fun focal image to the center using some dimensionals. So I'm going to add 1 to my drink there, my cocktail, and get rid of our backings. Oh, thumbnail, how I miss you. Sorry guys, it's taking me way longer to peel these backings off. And we're going to pop this on, hopefully straight, right in the middle. Just like that. Such a fun frosty drink. And then again, we're going to add a little bit of bling. This time we're going to use some of these sort of shimmery gems. I'm loving them as well. So let's actually add, let's put one down here. And we'll put one up here. And we'll do another guy up here. There we go. Fun, fun, fun. Now, I'll just show you what I did on the inside of my sample. I'm not going to take the time to do it now, but on the inside I said, and I'm pretty sure tomorrow will be too. Yeah, I'll be sipping cocktails for the week that we were supposed to be in Maui. I'll get back to you sometime around the 16th, okay? All right. I got to make sure I keep the stuff out that I need and put away the stuff that I don't. Got to keep that one. Don't need these. Don't need that. Don't need these. Okay, last card. Oh, there goes my magenta. I'm throwing stuff around my studio, guys. It's that kind of a day. I did mention it's a cocktail kind of day, right? Okay, here is our last card, and I had some fun with this one. Now, do you see the word cookies? Does it not look like shiny and glossy? It almost looks like puff paint. I had some fun with the new foam adhesive sheets and die cut my sentiment using them, and I am loving the look. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So let me pull out, first of all, we're going to stamp our background. So our background panel is Misty Moonlight cardstock. It is 4 by 5¼ inches. And we're going to pull out our cookies stamp. There it is. And our Misty Moonlight ink pad. So I'm doing tone on tone stamping, which gives us just a really subtle way to add texture on a background. So we're just going to stamp the word cookies a few times. Now I'm doing these relatively straight. I don't really want, you know, cockeyed cookies, if that makes any sense. I just kind of want the word to be straight, okay? And then I'm going to just stamp off my little asterisk here and add a couple of these little guys. Like, this stamp is just like the magic bullet of this stamp set. It just adds a little something something that adds interest and texture and just a bit of whimsy. I love it. Okay. All right. You know what? I'm going to keep this out because I'm going to stamp my sentiments. Okay. So we're going to set that aside. And out of my kit, I'm going to take this fun label. Now, this label was die cut with the new Hippo and Friends die. So the die set coordinates with the Hippo Happiness stamp set. It's available in a bundle. And there are several label dies, awesome label dies in that in that bundle set, or die set, I should say. And this is one of them. Okay. So I'm going to start stamping A Day Without, hopefully centered and hopefully straight. Okay, at the top. And then I'm going to stamp Is Like, just kidding, I have no idea, at the bottom. Again, making sure that this is actually inked and hopefully relatively straight. Not bad. I'm always nervous when I can't look directly at my surface that I'm stamping on. Okay, next I'm going to show you how I did these fun cookies. Now, I'm not going to take the time to stamp them. I'm just going to show them to you. But these cookies, can you see? I don't know if they'll show, but I stamped them in early espresso ink on cinnamon cider cardstock. And then, you can probably see better on the back side, I embossed them using the Old World paper embossing folder to make them look like cookies, so they have more texture. Isn't that fun? I thought that was a really fun way to add a little bit of texture to my cookies. All right, so now I'm going to show you what these foam adhesive sheets look like. So they come, you get 6 sheets. They're 4 by 5 inches, I believe, or 4 by 4.25, 4.5-ish. They're about this big, okay? And they're double-sided adhesive, so they're like giant dimensionals. All right, so you cut whatever you need to the size of your cardstock. You're going to stick the sheets to your cardstock before you do your die cutting, okay? Then you're going to place your die on top and run it through. Now, my Big Shot requires me to go through twice to cut this detailed word die cleanly, okay? Each machine will be different. You might need 3 times, you might only need once, depends on your machine. Then, and this is a tip that I discovered the hard way when I did my first my sample. Once you've done your die cutting, use the pointy end of your Take Your Pick tool to dig out your bits beforehand, okay? If you peel it off and try to get your bits out after, they stick to everything and it's a big pain in the butt. So just take your Take Your Pick tool and just kind of dig those out before you remove it from the actual sheet of cardstock, okay? All right, so then we are going to very gently, without doing too much damage, pull this guy. Now these are super sticky, these foam adhesive sheets, like super sticky. So you want to just be gentle and try not to grab them too hard because they will stick to your finger. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my little cookies on here and get that relatively straight. And again, you do have time to adjust it, but once you press it into place, it's not going anywhere. Like, that's there now. There is no moving it. Okay. All right. And then, oh, thanks, Anne. Oh, you like that idea, Annette, do ya? And then I'm going to take my little dot on my eye. Okay, and again, I'm going to use the pointy end of my take your pick and just kind of dig it out of the sheet and then just pop it into place. Okay. Now, the other thing that I did with this, can you see how glossy that is? I used my fine tip glue and applied a layer of fine tip glue over the die cut to make it look kind of shiny and wet and almost like vinyl or plastic or puff paint. So all you're going to do is just take and squeeze a little bit of the fine tip glue. So you're kind of tracing your die cut. Now the trick with this is don't press too hard. You don't want the glue to flow too fast. You're going to get bubbles. And bubbles are a pain. You can get rid of them, but it's a bit of a pain. So you kind of just want to take your time. Don't squeeze too hard. You don't want to get too much either. You only want your glue to go on your die cut shape. So I'm just going to add a little bit to the eye. And remember, you can always add more after if you need to, like if you miss a spot. But it's very hard. Oh, I got a bubble. Did you see that? It's hard to take it off if you get too much. Okay, so to get rid of this bubble, I'm going to bring in my pokey tool and I'm just going to kind of tease at it until I pop it. It will eventually pop. Come here, you. Come on. There we go. Okay, now you need to let this dry. It takes, I don't know, about 20 minutes to set up, maybe less, depends on how much you put down. But the effect is a glossy, almost looks like puff paint or vinyl die cut, which is kind of a fun look. Okay. All right, so I'm going to just set that aside. We're going to do some other things and then we'll come back to it and hopefully it'll be set up enough that I can finish assembling this card. Okay, so we have here a strip of cinnamon cider cardstock. So this again is from the 6x6 color family DSP pack. Okay, and you can see I started stamping some cookies on the back and changed my mind. Didn't like that, so I'm going to go with the polka dots. This is 4 1/4. Yep, 4 1/4 by 1 1/2. And I'm going to use my triple banner punch and I'm just going to slide this in, just make sure it's centered in the 1 1/2 inch channel and just punch to create my banner end. Now you could totally hand cut this or use the tailor tag trick. That works as well. And we're going to go ahead and glue that onto our stamped background. Okay, about, I don't know, an inch up from the bottom-ish. Let's use a bit of Tombow. Again, for the wiggle time. So we're going to pop this on right here. Come on. Did I mention my fingers are not working quite the way they normally do today? Yeah, it's a little frustrating when you feel like you're all thumbs. All right, there we go. Okay, now we're going to layer that on a cinnamon cider panel. So just like the other cards, I did the same basic layering technique on all three. So this was 4 by 5 1/4. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, so it gives you that little bit of a shadow behind it. So we'll add a bit of glue. Hi, Jill, how are you? Is it hot where you are? It is crazy hot here. Crazy hot. Okay, so there we go. Okay, and then we're ready to put that on our card base. So this is an early espresso card base. It's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. I've scored it in the middle at 4 1/4. So we'll fold in half along our score line. Crisp that up. And then we're gonna add a little bit of adhesive and pop that on. Just like that. Okay. All right. Now we're going to try and assemble this without touching that cinnamon because I'm going to end up with glue everywhere if I do. Okay. So we are going to add one little embossed cookie to the back corner of our die cut. So I'm going to use just a bit of Tombow. Normally I would probably put a little bit of seal or some glue dots, but again, we're trying not to mess up our die cut there. Okay, and then that is going to get mounted on the front of our card with some dimensionals. Again, I'm not going to turn this over to put my dimensionals on the back. So this is not how I would normally apply dimensionals. This is not sanctioned, okay? You normally want to put your dimensionals on the back of the piece that you are adhering. but I'm just trying to avoid messing up my little glue treatment there. So we're going to pop this on and hopefully get it relatively straight. Okay, yeah, see, I need another dimensional up there. This is what happens when you don't put them on your actual label. So here's a trick. If you need to add your dimensionals, peel off the backing and then grab your take your pick and just pop that in behind. Okay, there we go. Now that'll lay nice and flat. Okay, last touch is to add a couple more cookies. We're going to add one up here. So I'm going to put a dimensional just on the corner and a little Tichatombo right there. And we're going to pop that up there. Okay. And then this guy is going to come on here. So again, we're going to add a dimensional. Come here, you. Put one back here. And then a little bit of Tombow where it's going to overlap the label. So the reason that I'm using both dimensionals and Tombow is so that it lies flat. If I just put a dimensional in the middle, this is already popped up. So then this would bump, right? It's not going to lie flat. So we're going to pop that on there like that. And there we go. Isn't that fun? So fun. All right, last touch is to add a few little cinnamon enamel dots, cinnamon cider. Now, there has been some problems with these things coming apart. So the dome comes off the color. So I have learned the best way to do this and to avoid that problem is you bend the plastic back and the whole dot kind of pops off. Normally I would use my take your pick to pick these up, but I have discovered that if I use my take your pick, I pull them apart. Now Stampin' Up! Is aware of this issue and they are working on it with the manufacturer, but if you have one of the first batch of these embellishments and you're finding that they're separating, first of all, call me if you ordered from me, or call Stampin' Up! Or your demonstrator, whoever you ordered them from, and let them know that you have a bad batch and they will send you some replacements because they need to know like how pervasive the problem is, okay? But that is just a little tip for how to avoid your enamel dots separating. And there we go. Isn't that fun? So fun. All right, let's put these all three cards out. Now I'm going to show you, I am having such a blast with this stamp set and die set, I got to tell you. So I'm going to show you some more projects. These are going to post on my social media later. And like throughout the week, I'm going to be posting all week. And I just had so much fun with them. I've got some swaps that came and some cards that I designed. So I'm going to show them real quick. Hi, Elfie. How are you? Hi, Peggy. I'm glad you like it. Now, today is National Chocolate Day. International Chocolate Day. It's a day to celebrate chocolate. And I am all about celebrating chocolate whenever possible. So this is a card that I designed. Now, it was inspired by a swap card. Look at this fun swap card. So this is one that came from Lori Wilcox, who's a Canadian demonstrator from out west. And so she made this fun gift card holder. Isn't that awesome? So there's a gift card that slides in here. Okay, so this was a swap I received and it inspired me to make this. I love what Lori did to make the chocolate. So that's what I did here. Isn't that fun? So this is actually the die that cuts the cookies. And then do you recognize where the caramel's from? It's the little water squirt from the whale punch. And then this little swirly is from the World of Good dies, or the World Map dies that coordinate with the World of Good suite. Okay, so really fun. I love the brass. I just think it's really fun. And of course I had to use magenta to make it girly, because what girl doesn't love chocolate, right? And then I am a huge coffee drinker, as I mentioned when I was making this card, and I thought how fun would it be to make a shaker card using coffee beans. So I used one of the snow globe domes and filled it with some coffee beans and made myself a coffee cup. Okay, this again is that same swirly die that I used to make my chocolate here. And just made a fun shaker card. And again, I made it into a gift card holder. So this has a Tim card in it. You could put a Starbucks card, you could put, well, for whatever your favorite coffee establishment is. And so I thought that would be a really fun one. So then here are some more swap cards that I received. I'll just show you really quick. So this one, today is a cocktails kind of day. Do I know who made this one? Yes, I do. Winona Semler made that one. And then this one, who's this one from? This is from Lindsay Mahan out west. And then this one is from Allison Sullivan. from Stamp with Allison. So really, really fun. These will all show up on my social media throughout the week. I'm featuring this bundle all week. And on Friday, I'm going to show you some really cute simple stamping projects with this bundle as well. Okay? All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed these projects. I hope you learned something. And I will see you on Friday for some simple stamping live on Friday night. Okay? In the meantime, if you're in Ontario, stay cool and have a fantastic week. We'll see you soon.